Saturday afternoon, and we're in South Melbourne for an hour and a half for the best entertainment you're going to get ahead of Sydney and Adelaide at the SCG. Plenty going on in the world of AFL football. We've got nuff-nuff of the week not far away. Jarrad McVeigh joins us, of course, from the Swans. We've also got Spud Frawley to celebrate because we've got the big match tonight. Zach Tuohy to join us, who was superb last night. And a new addition, because the Chief, who we're going to get to in just a second, is with us because Duck isn't with us. And we're going to explain why that occurred as well, Bernard, in just a moment. But, Chief, this is just the giving nature that you have that you've decided to come in and help us today.
Good afternoon, gents. They've just turned me into a workhorse here at Triple M, Jim. Just, you know.
Oh, he looks happy.
Back in the day, Bernard, like Chief, we all worked with Chief Damo, didn't we, for, best part of 20 years on Triple M.
He took off.
If we'd have said to him on a Friday night, look, we need you to come in Saturday, Chief, and give us a chop out, it would have been Jim.
Yeah. It would have been.
I don't even need to say any more words. There is no chance.
One of the three words you would have said would have been off, and then comma flogs.
Yeah, that's it. Yep. Or just flog.
Unscramble.
Now, so that's great to have Chief and Bernard, of course, and Damo.
So what happened to the Duck, Jim?
Well, before I get to the Duck, because I am going to get to him in just a second, what we had last week, didn't we, Bernard?
Yes.
Is we had old terrace standing, cheerleading, nuff-nuff footy supporting fat wander into the box last week after Geelong were turned over by the bottom team from the year before.
Absolutely.
All we heard was umps,
Free kicks.
31-15 umps,
Free kicks.
all this crap. It was embarrassing to listen to. So, Fat,
Yes.
what we say to you now,
Is well done.
because we've got people who have been involved in elite sport for a long time, and people that have been involved in elite sport understand swings and roundabouts happen in sport.
Yes.
You might get a bad look one week, you get a good look the next week. So we're going to just shut up and allow you to acknowledge that in the last minute of that game, you were given the greatest hand from the officials of all time that won you a game of footy, so you could acknowledge how lucky you were.
You talking to me?
Yep.
It was
Right.
a gift.
No, it was a 50-50, that one. We've seen it. We saw it all night last night. We saw it all night. It was a 50-50. Some go your way, some don't go your way.
Phil.
Luckily for the Cats, they
Phil.
went their way.
50-50.
Do we want to talk about Eric?
No.
The eel hit
No.
for Bill.
About
Get
the last
Be
minute. We're
free
talking about
kicks
the
in the
last minute.
first quarter.
Last
Be
minute.
the better man and admit
No,
you was
no.
gifted a game of football.
Gifted.
No, I'm not.
So-
Because Joe Eric missed a goal from the goal square. And well done to Isaac
to do
Smith
with it.
to go down the other end and
Fat,
kick the
we
goal.
don't care about any of that. Just the last minute.
They're not at their best of the Cats
No.
at the minute. They're not at their best. I'm a
Bill.
touch
We don't want a
worried about
summary.
them.
Bill, you should be 0-2.
Hi, Chief. Well, hang on. Let me have a look at the ladder.
You can look at that decision
I'm looking at the
100
ladder.
times, Bill, and 100 times you'll say that's incorrect disposal
Here's
of the
the
football.
AFL Toyota ladder. Cats. Oh, no, they're 1-1.
So, Fat, let me
What?
ask you this.
What?
It's my understanding,
Oh,
and I
Lockie
have it
Neal
from
thing.
high authority, that
Yes.
at some stage this afternoon, and highly likely while we're on air,
Yeah.
the AFL are going to make an official acknowledgement that they got it wrong. When they do, will you then acknowledge how lucky you
Well,
are?
let's see what they
No,
say.
if they say they got that decision wrong, will you then
Jim,
acknowledge?
Don't use. You're the worst bloke in the world to say I got it wrong or it's not my fault.
No, I'm
Actually, that's
not
a
my
fair
fault.
point, Jim.
Jim, you are the
Not
worst.
my fault. I
hello.
wasn't
Actually,
umpiring.
He's
Warriors
turning it
bowling.
around.
Hey, by the way, it had everything last
So
night.
just acknowledge.
Oh, we'll see.
Oh.
I had everything last night, Jim. What about that down at the Cattery? Not sure if the game's going to go ahead. Fans asked to leave at quarter time.
Yes.
Spicy, bit of spice back in it
Spice.
down there. I
There
liked
was,
it.
there
It was a bit heated, wasn't it, Chiefy? Then we had Gary Rowan and Lockie Neal.
Oh, now, what's Gary on about?
Yeah,
Why are
gone.
you
Little
swinging an arm in?
round-arm
Why are you
Gone.
doing that?
From behind.
3 weeks, you reckon, Bill?
Oh,
From behind.
Why are you
was a
doing that
little
if you're Gary
swinger.
Rowan?
Cheap
well,
shot.
because he got one first.
Well, but you don't swing your arm
It
around. hit
happens
someone in
all the
head.
time
All
behind
right, so
play.
that's okay.
Well,
And then Chris Scott
shut
took
up.
on...
Then Chris Scott firing up.
Lockie, yeah.
What about, and then, Mark O'Connor. I love what he did, because that's how you do tag. He didn't do anything untoward. He just went with him and annoyed him. That was great. Good to see the tagging back.
Yeah.
Because all week we've been saying, Chief,
It
haven't
will
we?
come back into vogue, I think.
It will now. You're right.
agreed.
With this new rule. But also, all week we've been saying how nice players are. They hug before a game now. They hug after it. They're all too nice. There's no taggers. Well done, Mark O'Connor, and last night. And then Guess who kicks the winning goal? Isaac Smith. So it had everything. It was a nice burger.
that a trick question?
He's just done a
Pineapple.
match review, Jim.
We don't need a pricey
We don't
of the
do
game.
match reviews on Triple
we
M.
watched the
I
game.
do, because I was there and I watched it with a couple of frothies.
We don't need a pricey
People
of the
trying
game.
to take advantage of me too.
We
Filling
watched-
me up last night, trying to get me home and take advantage of me. But it had everything, the burger last night.
We watched it. We
Yeah,
were
Bill,
all at the
we all
game.
seen
We all
it.
saw it. But
Oh, well,
Anyway.
a disgraceful non-decision, and how in God's
wasn't
name an umpire
disgraceful.
cannot think that is holding the ball. That is just getting to the last 20 seconds and completely panicking.
And it happened the previous week too, Jim, the GWS and St Kilda game.
Yep.
So there's been a couple of games
All right.
decided on the back of umpiring
So
or
we'll get to
non-umpiring
It
decisions.
is getting more difficult to umpire. our
Absolutely it
games.
is. Yeah.
The,
You've got to
the
feel
AFL
for it.
will there'll be an announcement coming, but the other thing that of course happened was the COVID situation in
yes,
Brisbane,
yeah.
and so pandemonium was reigning at the GMHBA Stadium, especially around the Channel 7 commentary box, because the great Luke Hodge, Chief, four-time Premiership superstar of your club, he lives in Brisbane. So Hodgie, as soon as the announcement came out, straight away everyone looked at Hodgie and said, right, well, you got to go, because you not only have been there for after the 12th, you've been there pretty much every day because it's where you reside.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Hodgie,
Reluctantly.
and very reluctantly,
Wanted to help.
Wanted to help, but was told, mate, you are out, you're done, you got to go and isolate, you're finished.
True leader wanted to hang around and help their troops.
So
yeah.
we're there going, okay, we're now down to one special comments man.
who was it?
Within a second and a half
No,
of
Duck.
Hodgie going,
Yeah.
No duck.
Duck, there were vapor trails. The duck feathers on the back were on fire. He was out of there that quick. Chief,
Down the highway?
Lewis Martin rang Duck to say, look, you were in Brisbane for about a minute and a half, a week and a half ago. You probably have to think about going to. When
bang.
Lewis rang him to tell him that, Duck was in the car on the way back to Melbourne.
He was still wired up, Jim. He's got to take his mic off.
Well, he obviously had health concerns, and he didn't want to spread anything. Jim.
So,
Bristle and I were sitting there on our own with no one.
thank God. Hey, thank God Bristle was nowhere near Brisbane, because he would have got in the car and gone to Lawn. I reckon he saw Brisbane on the map and he felt a bit bad.
He's checking
So
the diary.
Duck's having a test. He couldn't make it this morning.
No, he can't be here today.
Why?
Not allowed to.
Because he's isolating.
But guess how long?
Until you have a test.
Yeah, normally it takes
So-
5 or 6 hours to get your results back. Guess how long for Duck? He reckon 3 or 4 weeks.
Well,
That's what he reckons.
Hey, well, interesting you mentioned that. Remember last week Jim brought Duck in, and we're all excited about being on the show, and this is what he had to say.
I'm starting to think COVID wasn't too bad. The lockdown now that we're back into it and we're flat out, Damo. Just a little lockdown for.
Try that. We're 2 games into the new season, Duck.
He wanted
games
lockdown.
in.
Preempting it last week.
What about the other question he asked, which has kept me awake all week? We'll wait for Duck to be here.
No,
That question-
he's not coming here, Bill.
Oh, righto. Remember that question he asked about himself?
Yes.
And
That was
and
a
no one-
statement.
It was a statement.
Yeah.
Caleb
Question.
Daniel on the phone.
Yeah, it was
The DVD question.
kept me up all.
What did he say, Bill?
Oh, he just asked this long-winded question, and it was all about him. That one of the players didn't know who Duck was, and it went on and on. Hey, what about this week?
Good story.
Great story.
You're
I
actually going to throw to something.
Thought he had something planned
Duck's
there,
gotta
Jim.
be here. But I love watching me footy. I love watching. Shut up.
You okay?
I love watching me footy. Right. So AFL 360. I watch that religiously. I love it. I love
I
watching.
would put it to you
Why?
that you haven't watched an episode of
I
that all
have
year.
Waitley and Mark Robinson. Okay, very good. Different pairing, big and small, and but very good.
What's he
But
doing?
They do a good job anyway. So I turn on this week, Jim. Turn it on because I watch it religiously. There's Waitley, and guess who's sitting next to him? No, Mark Robinson. Chief.
Oh!
So the Chief has moved in, Jim.
The Chief.
The Chief. So it's now Waitley and the Chief
Oh.
show. And guess what? Look,
It's watchable.
It's watchable. He looks. Oh, they look similar, but they're looking good.
Hang on.
But they tell me a lot of backroom politics going on. Robbo out, and there's a bit going on from someone in this room to maybe get a gig, a full-time gig on AFL 360.
Bill, when you say they tell me, who are they?
Them out there.
Sources.
Them
out there.
Them out there.
Luke.
He's been crooked this week, and I filled in Monday and Wednesday, Bill.
Oh, but did you enjoy it?
It was okay. Nick Riewoldt filled in Tuesday. So,
Yeah, so-
again, I used that term workhorse off the top of the show today. seriously.
It's fair.
So I think there's a
I've
bit
got the
going
bum
on.
up, the nose down, Jim, and I am just I'm soldiering on.
Well, it's about time, Chief, because you had 20 years of doing nothing. Seriously.
What have you done? What do you do? What do you do, Chief? I was thinking this driving down the track.
Are you serious?
What do you do?
You drink for a living, and you're asking me, what do you do?
That
That's
is
a
the
fair
question.
point.
What do you do?
I work for Triple M, and I work for Fox Footy, Bill.
1 or 2 days a week. There's another 5.
Well, no, I do a little bit more than that.
I don't know if you do. I don't know what you do, Chief.
Well, I'll tell you what I don't do. I don't suck piss the way you do all day, every day.
But I've got pubs. That's my job.
Oh, you're working
That's
too.
my job.
Yeah, you're working.
Yeah, I work. It's all
In the
PR,
pub.
Chief. You get around and meet. Oh, Gordy's 70th coming up. We've got to have a chat to him. Might do something there for him. And then there's Knackers over there.
Gordy.
We had a few in for a party the other night, so I go down there and drink their free piss.
Gordy's last name?
No, I can't tell you because
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
I don't know it.
confidential. isn't it, Bill?
Anyway, Jim, that's a good
The
start.
creamy.
Let's have a break.
What about, well, the Chief was a publican.
Oh, he was
yes.
too.
The saloon.
Oh, saloon bar.
Bill used to terrorise us there too.
Yes, yeah, that was a good little joint. Had pool tables, and we used to stand there. And Chiefy had the drink cards.
Yeah.
He'd feed over to us.
nice.
You didn't go for the pool tables, Bill.
And I hated pool. Why do blokes stand around and play pool, and then they put their money on the thing? I'm next. And I used to pinch the $2. But no, it was a good little joint. And then you had Banana Alley. That was good, Chief.
We had a few licensing issues there, Bill.
Yeah, you would have. You would have.
We used to, Bernard, back in the Sheffield Shield, we used to drift into Melbourne once a year and we used to line up at the saloon just with the hope that we'd see the Chief.
You wouldn't have lined up, Jim.
that we'd just get a glimpse of the Chief. This is like early 90s.
Posse
And
with him?
so every now and then, and he had to be very famous for the Chief to know who you. Even though he loves his cricket, he had to be famous to. So I reckon it was probably
Acknowledge
like a Tim May or someone like that.
Oh.
So that was the only famous cricketer we
good
had
fella,
in the team.
Maisie.
Darren
Really
Lehman.
ripper bloke.
Maybe Darren Lehman, those two.
Put to sleep.
So
Sounder.
No, probably after Sounder. Anyway, the Chief would be standing there, and we'd all be hoping
Wayne
to
Phillips.
get in, and he'd just go, righto, well, Maisie, in you go, and then he'd go, oh, Wolf, actually, I know, in you go, and he'd just look at the rest of us and go, push off. I love that. Coming in.
What about the way Jim started telling that story? He goes, back in the Shield days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sheffield Shield. Sorry.
He wanted to follow up
was.
question like,
Do you
what would
know
you average?
who
And,
used to walk around and thought he owned that joint? Himself, Dermot. I thought he actually owned it or had a piece of it because he used to walk around like he owned it, didn't he?
He does that everywhere, though.
Yeah.
You let John Bon Jovi in there one night play acoustically there, Chief.
We had a lot of good music.
just walking off the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd get that.
Pre-mobile
They'd,
phone
they'd be
days.
in town performing and they'd just pop in and have a little sesh.
See the chief? They just all wanted to
They
see
didn't
the
come
chief.
to see me.
Yes,
no.
they did.
No, they didn't.
I think they did.
Jeez, you had a lot of friends, Chief, then when you own a bar. It's
Don't
good,
you
isn't it?
just?
Oh, wow.
Blokes like you saying, have you got a drink card?
You have the little drink card in your top. You always wore a pocket, so you'd have the drink card sticking out.
was it show off when you pull them out?
Oh, no, you just walk around.
Ah,
They'd see it. They just come from everywhere.
Is that
Come
what you
in,
do down in Cremorne?
Come to Papa.
As we go to the break, Fat, we also had a look at the Friday flashback last night, which was the Geelong Footy Club kicking the highest ever score in the history of the AFL/VFL against the Brisbane Bears, Carrara.
37-17.
37 goals, of which you contributed 3. So how can you not get on the end of a little more than that?
How many double kick?
9.
So 12 between us.
Oh, yeah.
So we had this discussion on Triple M last night because we had Bill and Barry Stoneham came in
The
for a
great
chat.
Barry Stoneham.
And we did have that discussion and it must have been hard for Bill being third fiddle.
That's it.
Behind Gary Ablett and Baz.
Yes.
That there wouldn't have been,
Well,
would have been pretty slim pickings for him.
Not only third fiddle, in this game you played 5th fiddle.
Well, you're
Because
probably
Bulkhead-
behind Spiro Malakelis as well, weren't you?
Bruce
Gavin
Lindner,
Exel. Gavin Exel.
Gavin Exel.
X and the Prez.
Paul
yeah.
Brown,
Prez.
Paul Brown kicked 6. Darren Forsman kicked more than you.
You know what happened, Jim? I've told you this.
Forsy.
Oh, the Rodeo clown. Had the hair, the red hair like a Rodeo clown. That's what we got. Right, he was a Rodeo clown. That's what he used to do during the week. He'd ride those fucking horses.
Ride those ones.
Fucking horses.
That's it.
I played, I've told you this, Jim, centre half back.
Oh, you did
I
not.
played centre half back.
You kicked 3 from centre
I
back.
slipped down to kick
Well,
3.
you're running off.
Yeah. So
Yeah, nice.
that was one of those. Still a world record. That,
No, it is.
and will never be broken.
Yeah, that's it.
37-17.
37 of them, of which you handed 3 in.
Part of the team, Jim.
That's it, of
I'm
course
just a
you were.
team player.
Jarrad McVeigh is going to join us. Zach Tuohy is going to join us. Nuffy of the week, not far away. Lots of news to get through with Damo as well. And then the great Danny Frawley we celebrate as we look ahead to Melbourne and St Kilda tonight at Marvel Stadium. For Hard Yakka, this is the Triple M Saturday Rub. Hard Yakka for a new breed of legends. And for McDonald's and Ream Hot Water, Triple M rocks footy. Saturday afternoon rub, of course. Bill's here. He's only just here, Bill. He would have left last night. He would have gone to the creamy. And I don't know how much value he's going to be from now on. Hadn't been a lot of value to this point.
No.
Damo, nice to see you, of course. A new segment we love. The Chief is... You've got no idea how welcome you are, Chief.
We love you, Chief.
We were absent for too long and we've missed you and you're back.
Do you know how much you're loved?
Before you told me, I don't know what you do.
You did say that.
Now you're saying, do you know how much you're loved?
But I don't know what you do. But you are loved, and as long as we've got no rice, is it?
He's going back there. Going back to the rice.
Pulling out all the big material, Bill.
We just ordered some.
Look at Bill.
And laughing at his own
His
game.
own material. Look at Fat.
Oh, Bill.
I will say this, Purple. I've been on the receiving end of a lot of verbal cooks.
Yep.
And a lot of them weren't great. Merv Hughes, for a great example. He used to give it to me for 10 straight years, couldn't string a sentence
when you were
together.
trying to play the sport you were
so
playing.
he was no bloody good at it. And there lots of had a go at it.
Middle stump.
Not many good. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
But I have been on the end of a few, and of the top 5 Chiefs, delivered 4 of them.
Fossil. What about the fossil?
Well, Force is very, very good, but he didn't have the anger attached to it, Force.
Chief held you upside down out of a boat
No, he did.
by the left leg.
Yep,
Yeah.
he did. Caught up with me, Bernard, on a boat once.
Oh, no.
Up in the Whitsundays.
He got lippy, Bernie. He
Oh,
got very
yeah,
lippy,
yeah, he
Jim.
can do that.
And a bloke built like that shouldn't get lippy.
Where'd he go? Over?
This is what happened, Bern. The thing's doing 20-odd knots in the Whitsundays, but it was a big 80-foot job.
Yep.
So and the Chief very quick in his time, but at this stage it trained right off. So I thought to myself, I've got the Chief for speed, so I could just pick away at him, Bill, but big enough boat I could get away.
Yeah.
So
I hope it was big.
I've given it 2 or 3 goes at it, and I could tell the Chief was getting annoyed, but I thought I had my escape route, so I'm all good. And then the man we are going to honour later on today, I didn't realise had gone and stood in my escape route. So I made the grave error of giving Chief one more.
Trouble.
And then I'm like, right, Chief's got up out of his seat, and right now I'm in trouble. The escape route, I've turned, and there's Spud. So then Chief's grabbed me, and I thought all the air had gone out of my whole air and blood out of my whole body. Then Bernard grabbed me by, and I reckon at that stage I'm working at about 86 kilos. Chief's grabbed me with one hand by the ankle and dangled me over the side of the boat while it's going along at 22 knots.
Gee, I wish he let Why did you let him go?
And I'm going like this with my arms going, Chief, just a bit of fun, Chief.
He's swimming.
And there's like Sam and Spud and Gary, and they're all going, just drop him.
Just drop him.
Just drop him over the side.
Never a shark around when you need one, Bill.
Couldn't you just dropped him? You could have circled around and picked him up. What about, was that?
Physically helpless.
Were you scared as much as the Fraser Garrick?
No, well,
the carpet snake.
I
when
think the
she-
snake was actually going to end me.
He was going to end you. He was.
He was going to end me.
You actually,
that was at
the
the
blood
Prince of
went
Wales.
out.
Scared that night, Jim.
Well, and the problem was that was Sam who did all of that.
Oh, yes.
Sam called him the carpet snake, didn't he?
He did.
It wasn't me, but the snake took exception to me for some reason.
Yeah, because you're entitled.
And I thought he was going to call
You've got to understand who you're dealing with, Jim.
well-
It's okay if it's someone that's got a great sense of humour like yourself.
Oh.
But you get someone like the G-Train that can be a little bit hit
funny.
and miss, not good.
He did. His eyes rolled back,
Yeah.
Chief.
You knew you were in trouble.
And I thought, and I looked around for support.
Yeah.
No one.
Where you reckon Rui was?
We're in the
and
next
Dal
bar.
and BJ and Gat, wherever you were.
Egging him
Everyone
on.
went to the
There
next
wasn't
bar.
a person there to help me.
We thought how good's this. G-Train's just going to tear his arms off.
We need to get nuff-nuff of the week. Now, this is Bernie Vince, as Carl Lane did a very good job of it last week, but it was it didn't have a sting at the start.
No sting.
Well, I've listened to feedback, boys, and I've spent all week doing this, and I've come up, Bill, you'll be very impressed. Have a listen to this.
Nuff and nuff.
Nothing.
What is that?
That's your opener.
That is gold. Now, that is a song called Nuff Nuff by a band called Squash. And now,
Bernie.
Bill, they were big in the UK.
Were they?
I'll just let you know.
That is shit.
Oh, you want me to go back to the drawing board?
Yes,
and
please.
go
Yeah.
again? Okay,
Yeah,
I'll
I'd
go
have
again.
another go at it.
Oh,
Chief,
well,
what do you think?
Interesting.
Well,
All
You
right.
got to cut Bernie some slack.
better than nothing.
Here
Now,
we go.
Let's get on to it. First one. Now, Danger during the week obviously had to go to the tribunal and brought his lawyer. And in his defence, the lawyer used Siri. Can you believe? He used Siri to describe. He used it to describe the definition of severe, which was very great or intense. And I'm not sure what path he went down, but I also want to ask Siri a question about Danger's lawyer using her as defence. Now, hey Siri, what do you think of that idea?
It was shithouse.
He goes back. He's off to a flyer.
Not bad, not
Off
bad.
to a flyer.
You're back.
I've just
I've got Siri. Come on. All right. Very good.
Oh, there we go. Now,
Good,
we
good
all know
start.
we good. Better than the intro, the stinger. Yeah, okay, good. When your best mate has a kid, and we touched on it a little bit earlier. When you have a kid, and you tell your best mate the sex and the name of your kid, and you say, let's keep this sort of in-house a little bit, especially when you're talking about a power couple and an influencer, Bill, this couple are, you don't sort of go on radio and say this about it.
Well, yeah, he said that he's at home with, he's just had a baby boy, Rocky, and...
Rocky?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a first. No one's actually gone with the name yet, but there you go. You've just broken the story for everybody.
Oh, no. And when quizzed about it, sort of stumbled a bit. Yeah. Come on, Geordie. Don't give that away. Then we're talking of Buddy Franklin's kid, obviously, little Rocky. So, moving on to the third one. Now, Ross Lyon, a former coach of St Kilda and a key part of that.
Giant of this radio station.
A giant of this. I'll tread a bit carefully because he might be listening. Jarrad Geary. Now, Jarrad Geary, I've got to say, is the current captain of that footy club and would have been in the leadership group when Ross Lyon was coaching. You'd think you'd probably get his name right, wouldn't you, Bill?
Yep.
Did they put pins in Jarrad?
It's all right. I've had that my whole life, Rocky, so it's all good.
Former coach.
You did, right? That's all right, mate. My mum gets my name mixed up every now and then.
Come on, Ross.
Jarrad.
He's got his
captain.
Jarrinda. He's put it's a bit like you before trying to say sixth, Bill. Sixth with a TH. No D in it. Jarrad.
Six.
Say it again.
Jarrad.
Now that moves me on to
All
the
right, here we
Nuffy of the
go,
week.
Nuff,
There's
Nuff,
been a bit of a build-up. And
Nuff,
there's a lot
Nuff
of
of the week.
emails. There's
Chief.
a lot of social media tags because they're all hearing about this segment worldwide. It's gone global.
Good. Viral.
Love it.
And I couldn't help but go past a couple of things that were sent to me this week. And I apologise. Actually, I don't apologise in advance. Listen to this when asked about the three hardest things to say in the vocabulary.
The three hardest things to say in the world are, Jim.
What?
One, I was wrong.
You find that hard to say.
Oh, mirrors. Listen to mirrors. Number two, I need help, which I do.
Yep.
Number three, Worcestershire sauce.
What were you trying to say there? Can you
Worcestershire.
Oh, no.
now we can't say sauce. Worcestershire sauce.
Well, you say it, Damien.
Worcestershire.
Chief.
Worcestershire sauce.
Yeah, everyone can say it.
Bernie.
Worcestershire sauce.
You can't say it, you nuffy. You're a nuffy.
Oh, moving on. That's not my last one, Bill.
Oh,
I
that's
got
it.
that many sent. I had to just pick the best two I thought. And then this week on the global rush hour here in Melbourne, you were asked about the changes for Richmond.
Two changes. Basher Hurley's out, and so is Pickett.
Marlon.
Marlon.
He might be the injury sub, do you think?
Well, he's certainly there. They pick one of the four emergencies, and he's there. So is Marbio Choi.
I beg your pardon?
What Marbio? He's there.
Marbior.
Marbior, he's there also. So Chol.
Yes.
I'll tell you who is doubtful.
Marbio Cho.
Choi. I'll tell you who.
It's Joel.
You had 6 goes at that and still. Can you say it now, please?
Marbio Chol.
Yes, well done, Bill.
No, it's Marbior.
Sorry.
Marbior. Well, we know who it is.
And it's not Box Brother.
Box Choi.
Choi.
Yeah, it's
So you
Chol.
go again,
Marbior.
Bill. Just one.
Marbio.
No,
Marbior.
not Marbio.
Oh, anyway, I know who it is. He's a
Marbior.
very good player. Is he
Chol.
playing this week? They've already played.
Chief, I've got a question for you. You did.
They play Sunday.
You did a show, I reckon, for the best part of a decade, long time anyway, as high a rating show as there actually has been on this station.
Oh, yes.
With the great Doug Hawkins.
Yes.
Who, in your very experienced opinion, slaughtered the English language more? A Hawk or Fat?
Dougie, one of the best players you could ever work with. Love him to death. He had a few issues speaking.
Manure.
If it came down to it, Dougie plays Bill on a break.
Yes, exactly.
He would own you, Bill.
I know. Because he can't speak.
No, he's saying that he's better than you. He's actually saying he's
You're
better.
saying that Dougie's worse than I.
No, I'm not, Bill.
No. What are you saying
I'm
then?
saying he plays you on a break when it comes to the English vocabulary.
He still doesn't get it.
Plays you on a break means what?
Beats you easily.
No, Bill, you're all right today.
Yeah. What?
Oh, we've had a
Late
late
night.
Have you suffered head trauma?
Well, I got knocked out a lot because I was that hard.
Doug
Play
looks
hard.
like Winston Churchill compared to you.
Doug's fat.
Is what?
You're saying Doug's fat
No,
like Winnie?
No, not at all. Nicely done, Bernard. We're getting to a break. Jarrad McVeigh is going to join us shortly. Adelaide, Sydney. We can ask him all about.
Doug
But
Hawkins feeding.
come back. Zach Tuohy, of course, brilliant last night. And we talk about the great Danny Frawley as well for Hard Yakka. You're listening to the Triple M Saturday Rub. Hard Yakka, a new breed of Aussie legends. Toughness is in their DNA. Work hard, play hard. Hard Yakka, a history of hard. And from McDonald's and Ream Hot Water, Triple M rocks footy. Saturday afternoon rub, of course. Bill's here. He's only just here, Bill. He would have left last night. He would have gone to the creamy. And I don't know how much value he's going to be from now on. Hadn't been a lot of value to this point.
No.
Damo, nice to see you, of course. A new segment we love. The Chief is. You've got no idea how welcome you are, Chief.
Yeah, we love you, Chief.
We were absent for too long, and we've missed you. And
Yeah.
you're back.
Do you know how much you're loved?
Before you told me, I don't know what you do.
You did say that.
Now
Bill.
you're saying, do you know how much you're loved?
But I don't know what you do. But you are loved, and as long as we got no rice, is it?
Oh, he's going back there. Going back to the rice.
Pulling out all the big material, Bill.
Oh,
We just ordered some.
look at Bill.
And laughing at his own
His
game.
own material. Look at Fat.
Oh, Bill.
I will say this, Purple. I've been on the receiving end of a lot of verbal cooks.
Yep.
And a lot of them weren't great. Merv Hughes, for a great example. He used to give it to me for 10 straight years, couldn't string a sentence
was when you were
together.
trying to play the sport you
so
were playing, yeah.
he was no bloody good at it. And there are lots of had a go at it.
Middle stump.
Not many good. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
But I have been on the end of a few, and of the top 5, Chiefs delivered 4 of them.
What about the fossil?
Well, Force is very, very good, but he didn't have the anger attached to it, Force.
Chief
The
held
Chief
you
went-
upside down out of a boat
No, he did.
by the left leg.
Yep,
Yeah.
he did. Caught up with me, Bernard, on a boat once.
Oh, no.
Up in the Whitsundays.
He got lippy, Bernie.
Oh,
He got very
yeah,
lippy,
he
Jim.
can do that.
And a bloke built like that shouldn't get lippy.
Where'd he go? Over?
This is what happened, Bern. The thing's doing 20-odd knots
Yes.
in the Whitsundays, but it was a big 80-foot job.
Yep.
So and the Chief very quick in his time, but at this stage it trained right off. So I thought to myself, I've got the Chief for speed, so I could just pick away at him, Bill. But big enough boat I could get away.
Yeah.
So
I hope it was big.
I've given it 2 or 3 goes at it, and I could tell the Chief was getting annoyed. But I thought I had my escape route, so I'm all good. And then the man we are going to honour later on today, I didn't realise had gone and stood in my escape route. So I made the grave error of giving Chief one more.
Trouble.
And then I'm like, right, Chief's got up out of his seat, and right now I'm in trouble. The escape route, I've turned, and there's Spud. So then Chief's grabbed me, and I thought all the air had gone out of my whole air and blood out of my whole body. Then Bernard, he's grabbed me by, and I reckon at that stage I'm working at about 6 kilos. Chief's grabbed me with one hand by the ankle and dangled me over the side of the boat while it's going along at 22 knots.
Gee, I wish he let him go.
And I'm going like this with my arms going, Chief, just a bit of fun, Chief.
You're swimming.
And there's like Sam and Spud and Gary, and they're all going, just drop him. Just drop him over the side.
Never a shark around when you need one, Bill.
Couldn't you just dropped him? You could have circled around and picked him up. What about, was that?
Physically helpless.
Were you scared as much as the Fraser Garrick? When the carpet
because
snake
I
went
think the
in.
snake was actually going to end me.
He was going to end you. He was.
He was going to end me.
You
That was at
the blood
Prince of
went
Wales.
out.
Scared that night, Jim.
Well, and the problem was that was Sam who did all of that.
Oh, yes.
Sam called him the carpet snake, didn't he?
He did.
It wasn't me, but the snake took exception to me for some reason.
Yeah, because you're entitled.
And I thought he was going to call.
You've got to understand who you're dealing with, Jim.
well-
It's okay if it's someone that's got a great sense of humour like yourself.
Oh.
But you get someone like the G-Train that can be a little bit
Or
hit
funny.
and miss. Not good.
He did. His eyes rolled back,
Yeah.
Chief.
You knew you were in
and
trouble.
I thought, and I looked around for support.
Yeah.
No one.
Where you reckon Rui was?
We're in the
and
next
Dal
bar.
and BJ and Gat, where even you were.
Egging him
Everyone
on.
went to the
There
next
wasn't
bar.
a person there to help me.
We thought how good's this. G-Train's just going to tear his arms off.
We need to get nuff-nuff of the week. Now, this is Bernie Vince, as
here we
Carl
go.
Lane did a very good job of it last week, but it was it didn't have a sting at the start.
No sting.
Well, I've listened to feedback, boys, and I've spent all week doing this, and I've come up, Bill, you'll be very impressed. Have a listen to this.
Nuff and nuff.
Nuffy.
What is that?
That's your
That is gold. Now, that is a song called Nuff Nuff by a band called Squash. And now,
Bernie.
Bill, they were big in the UK.
Were they?
I'll just let you know.
That is shit.
Oh, you want me to go back to the drawing board?
Yes,
and
please.
go
Yeah.
again? Okay,
Yeah,
I'll
I'd
go
have
again.
another go at it.
Oh,
Chief,
well,
what do you think? Interesting.
well, it's
You're
better
going to
than
cut
nothing.
Bernie some slack.
Better than nothing.
Here
Now,
we go.
Let's get on to it. First one. Now, Danger during the week obviously had to go to the tribunal and brought his lawyer. And in his defence, the lawyer used Siri. Can you believe? He used Siri to describe. He used it to describe the definition of severe, which was very great or intense. And I'm not sure what path he went down, but I also want to ask Siri a question about Danger's lawyer using her as defence. Now, hey Siri, what do you think of that idea?
It was shithouse.
He goes back. He's off to a flyer.
Not bad,
Off
not bad.
to a flyer.
You're back.
I've just
I got Siri come up. All right, very good.
Oh, there we go. Now,
Good.
we
Good
all know
start.
we good. Better than the intro, the stinger. Yeah, okay, good. When your best mate has a kid, and we touched on it a little bit earlier. When you have a kid, and you tell your best mate the sex and the name of your kid, and you say, let's keep this sort of in-house a little bit, especially when you're talking about a power couple and an influencer, Bill, this couple are, you don't sort of go on radio and say this about it.
Well, yeah, he said that he's at home with, he's just had a baby boy, Rocky, and
Rocky.
yeah.
Oh, that's a first. No one's actually gone with the name yet, but there you go. You've just broken the story for everybody.
Oh, no. And when quizzed about it, sort of stumbled a bit. Yeah. Come on, Geordie. Don't give that away. Then we're talking of Buddy Franklin's kid, obviously, little Rocky. So, and moving on to the third one. Now, Ross Lyon, a former coach of St Kilda and a key part of that.
Giant of this radio station.
A giant of this. I'll tread a bit carefully because he might be listening. Jarrad Geary. Now, Jarrad Geary, I've got to say, is the current captain of that footy club and would have been in the leadership group when Ross Lyon was coaching. You'd think you'd probably get his name right, wouldn't you, Bill?
Did they put pins in Jarrad?
It's all right. I've had that my whole life, Rocky, so it's all good.
Former coach.
You did, right? That's all right, mate. My mum gets my name mixed up every now and then.
Come on, Ross.
Jarrad.
He's got his
captain.
Jarrinda. He's put it's a bit like you before trying to say sixth, Bill. Sixth with a TH. No D in it. Jarrad.
Six.
Say it again.
Jaron.
Now that moves me on to
All
the
right, here we
nuffy of the
go.
week.
Nuff of the
There's been a bit of a build-up. And there's a lot of
of the week.
emails. There's
Chief.
a lot of social media tags because they're all hearing about this segment worldwide. It's gone global.
Good. Viral.
And I couldn't help but go past a couple of things that were sent to me this week. And I apologise. Actually, I don't apologise in advance. Listen to this when asked about the three hardest things to say in the vocabulary.
The three hardest things to say in the world are, Jim.
What?
One, I was wrong.
You find that hard to say.
Oh, mirrors. Listen to mirrors. Number two, I need help, which I do.
Yep.
Number three, Worcestershire sauce.
What were you trying to say there? Can you
Worcestershire. Oh, no.
Now we can't say sauce. Worcestershire sauce.
Well, you say it, Damien.
Worcestershire.
Chief?
Worcestershire sauce.
Yeah, everyone can say it.
Bernie?
Worcestershire sauce.
You can't say it, you nuffy. You're a nuffy.
Oh, moving on. That's not my last one, Bill.
Oh,
I got that many sent. I had to just pick the best two I thought. And then this week on the global rush hour here in Melbourne, you were asked about the changes for Richmond.
2 changes. Basso Hooley's out, and so is Pickett.
Marlon.
Marlon.
He might be the injury sub, do you think?
Well, he's certainly there. They pick one of the 4 emergencies, and he's there. So is Marbio Choi.
I beg your pardon?
What, Marbio? He's there.
Marbio.
He's there also. So, Chol.
Yes.
I'll tell you who is doubtful.
Marbio Cho.
Choi. I'll tell you who.
It's Joel. You had 6 goes at that and still. Can you say it now, please?
Marbio Chol.
Yes, well done, Bill.
No, it's Marbior.
Sorry.
Marbior. Well, we know who it is.
And it's not Box Brother.
Box Choi.
Choi.
Yeah, it's
So you go again, Bill.
Marbio.
No, not Marbio.
Oh, anyway, I know who it is. He's a very good player. Is he playing this week? They've already played.
Chief, I've got a question for you. You did.
They play Sunday.
You did a show, I reckon, for the best part of a decade, long time anyway, as high a rating show as there actually has been on this station.
Oh, yes.
With the great Doug Hawkins.
Yes.
Who, in your very experienced opinion, slaughtered the English language more? A Hawk or Fat?
Dougie, one of the best blokes you could ever work with. Love him to death. He had a few issues speaking.
Manure.
If it came down to it, Dougie plays Bill on a break.
Yes, exactly.
He would own you, Bill.
I know. Because he can't speak.
No, he's saying that he's better than me. He's actually saying he's
You're
better.
saying that Dougie's worse than I.
No, I'm not, Bill.
What are you saying
I'm
then?
saying he plays you on a break when it comes to the English vocabulary.
He still doesn't get it.
Plays you on a break means what?
Beats you easily.
Bill, you all right today?
Yeah. What?
Oh, we've had a
Have
late
you suffered head trauma?
Well, I got knocked out a lot because I was that hard.
Doug looks like Winston Churchill compared to you.
Doug's fat.
Is what?
You're saying Doug's fat
No.
like Winnie?
No, not at all. Nicely done, Bernard. We're getting to a break. Jarrad McVeigh is going to join us shortly. Adelaide, Sydney. We can ask him all about. But come back. Zach Tuohy, of course, brilliant last night. And we talk about the great Danny Frawley as well for Hard Yakka. You're listening to the Triple M Saturday Rub. Hard Yakka, a new breed of Aussie legends. Toughness is in their DNA. Work hard, play hard. Hard Yakka, a history of hard. And from McDonald's and Ream Hot Water, Triple M rocks footy. Sydney Adelaide at the SCG. We get the comeback of the great Buddy Franklin. Can't wait to have a look at how the champ goes about it, of course. Both coming off wins in round 1. You could say unlikely wins. Certainly Adelaide over Geelong in Adelaide, and then Sydney going up to the Gabba doing a beautiful job of winning their first game as well. I said earlier that the man that was going to join us was Spike McVeigh. Of course, that's Mark McVeigh. Yeah. We've got Jarrad McVeigh on here. Mark McVeigh very happy with the way he looked, wasn't he?
Yes.
The way he looked.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Mr. Sunbury.
He always had a very comfortable opinion of his own appearance, the Spikelet, whereas Jarrad, much more hard-working, diligent, straight.
Blue collar.
Love him. Blue collar. 325 games for the Swans. Premiership captain, Fat. You didn't know that, did you?
Yes, I did in 2012.
Oh, it's superstar this
And
time.
a member of the Nude Nut family.
Yes, not a lot. Bit like you, Chief. Not a lot on top of the cranium. And as well as yourself, Fat.
Well, thank you, Jim.
Yeah, thank you.
I noticed that.
We're doing all this because we're waiting for Jarrad to get on. He's on now. Jarrad, welcome to you, mate.
Good afternoon, boys.
You've
kept
very
me out in
nice.
the sun, so I'm going to have to sunscreen that.
Yes. Well, finally some sun in your part of the world. It's pissed down for 2 weeks.
It has. It's been incredible weather, but it's about 28 now and probably couldn't ask for a better day for footy.
Now, mate, we're all excited for the return of the great man. Tell us about the internal buzz with Buddy Franklin.
Oh, look, it's fantastic. His last game was my last game, so that's how long ago it was.
Wow.
We're really excited. The young players haven't got to train much with him or play with him, but to be back at home with fans, it's exciting. Look, he'll obviously play forward and get one of their probably butts, and then hopefully he can work his way into the game a bit.
3 debutants last week, big impact. Errol Goulden, 3 goals. Logan McDonald, 3 goals. And Braden Campbell. Obviously, big impacts for the 3 debutants last week.
Yeah, look, they were great. The excitement and energy they bring to the group is fantastic, and they'll get to play their their first home game today. But Errol, as a small half forward, he couldn't have asked for a better game really, let alone a first game. And then Logan, with his skills and movement as a key forward, he's still learning his craft, but he's set for a long career hopefully. And then we've put Braden down back. He's just got really elite kicking skills, and hopefully they'll be on show today.
As good as Buddy is, when you've missed that much footy, Jarrad, what are the internal expectations?
Oh, look, we just obviously want him to blow the cobwebs out. He played in the twos last week. He did that. Look, we're not going to expect massive things from him like we all are. We all think he's going to come out and kick 10 goals, but the reality is he will get gassed. Towards the back end of the game. Obviously, it's hot today, so we'll just have to monitor him. He'll probably play a bit deeper today, and come out of the goal square a fair bit. So that'll be, he'll be launching up. But when he does get on the ground, what he's like. He's a massive competitor, and it'll be hard to stop him. So it'll be nice to see him running around again.
Jarrad obviously got off to a fly last week, big win against a very good team. What does the club expect to do in 2021, without giving away the inside secrets, if everything was to go right?
Oh, you'd obviously look to play finals. I mean, last year we won, 4 or 5 games. We had a number of injuries, but a lot of our kids got a lot of important experience. We enjoyed the hub together. We didn't have our family, so, it was just more about the players bonding, and, we had a great experience to come out of that, so we've taken a lot from that. We've brought in Don Pike and Benny Matthews from different systems, so we've tinkered with our game plan here and there, so we're really confident with the way we go about it at the moment. And if we can stay injury free with Heaney and Papley up and about, then Bud comes back. Things are promising this year.
Talking to Jarrad McVeigh up there in Sydney, assistant coach. You're looking after the forward line, Frothies?
I have. Stevie Johnson departed us,
yes,
and went to the enemy, so I've taken over his role. Loving working with them. They're a different breed, as you know.
Yes.
You don't want to coach them too much. You want to let them just display their talents and just give a bit of structure. But it's been a great learning curve for me as well.
Frothy's is his brother.
Yeah,
Mark.
wrong one, Bill.
That's the wrong.
Good try.
I thought we were talking to Spike.
No, we're talking to just cleared that up at the start.
Now, Jarrad, you have to change up, mate, because of the new rule. Only a week before the season started. I reckon it helps the forwards.
Oh, it does. I mean, the ball's coming a lot faster through that midfield area, and we saw the Collingwood game the other night. Just the lead-ups the forwards were getting was fairly easy. So it's more important of our forwards, engaging your opponent a bit earlier and then just reacting really quickly. And because it is coming in, it's a great rule, I think, and it has been healthy for the forwards to get clean ball use.
Speaking of winding the clock back, the other mob out of forward who got on the end of a few, the great Tex Walker. The first half he just peeled 5 off and looked like he was about 5 years younger.
It did, he was fantastic. Back to when they made the grand final, he was moving really well and plucking a few out of the ruck as well. So Ramps will probably take him today and hopefully do a number on him, and that'll go a long way for us to win.
Callum Mills spent the majority of his career down back. Did a bit of a run with role at times last year into the midfield round 1. Is that a permanent position for him? 29 possessions, 2 goals last week.
Yeah, look, had a great start to it. He's trained in the midfield all pre-season, and we've been waiting to move him in there, but we just haven't been able to with our back line. He's such a good backman. We just had to keep him there for a bit, but he's moved in with Joey and Parks and a few of our young ones, and his pre-season been fantastic. Now he's brought it into the season proper.
Hey, Jarrad, just from a personal note, mate, do you see yourself as a senior coach? Can we just sort of edge Horse out of the way and move into the top spot somewhere in the near future?
Oh, look, it's definitely on the radar, but I've got a long, long way to go. You've got a lot of learning and experience to go. But it's something definitely I'm really enjoying so far, and if that happens down the path, fantastic. But it's more for me at the moment. It's just learning the craft of coaching, learning different avenues to speak to players and the way they go about it, and then more the sports science side and all that type of stuff that I've been learning, which has been great.
Hey, Jarrad, have you announced the medical sub yet? I've got one for you if you haven't. I reckon Matty Ling would be good today because he can play in the middle and forward. Is that what you look for, someone to play in different positions?
Yeah, definitely. It's it's a hard one every week. You spend a bit longer in match committee trying to discuss it, and they may come on or they may not. I think Lingy might be it, mate. That's a pretty good call by you.
All over.
He knew that, Jarrad. He knew that.
He knew. I just showed him the official announcement.
I know that.
Because I showed you my phone.
Yeah, look, he played well in the reserves last week, and Will Hayward was the sub, but he didn't get on. So you don't want to do it 2 or 3 weeks in a row because you can't play. So ideally he doesn't get on because that means someone's got injured, but he'll be ready to go.
Hey, as we let you go, you just mentioned Dane Rampy before. He's no bigger than Bernie Vince, who's sitting here. Does he ever go into your recruiting people and say, is there any danger you can bring someone to the club who's got enough size to stand on these gorillas so I can third up and do what I do best?
Oh, look, I think he always asks, but he's so good at his job, there's no point. Look, he's just a really great player. Hopefully he doesn't climb the post today, which would be great.
Yes.
But we look forward to him hopefully not letting Tex get off the chain.
Hey, good luck today. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you, boys.
Jarrad McVeigh, star, that man. Unbelievable player for the Swans.
Catford! Geelong, hang on!
All right, so introducing you around the room before Fat does the introduction. Damo, beautiful, Chief off the bench, does a magnificent. In fact, it might be a permanent addition to us.
Yes, please.
I like it.
That'd be good.
Workhorse Chief.
I think Workhorse Chief fits nicely within the confines of this show. Bernie Vince, superb, of course, and Fat.
Yes.
Back from Geelong, and this man, of course, that you're about to introduce was a star last night.
He was best on ground last night, Jimmy Boyd. 206 games now he's played with the Geelong Footy Club and Carlton, of course. And after not playing in round one, which was interesting, comes back last night, kicks a couple of goals, plays everywhere. Zach Tuohy, welcome, mate, and well done last night. And I'll tell you what, you just had the win back at home.
Yeah, g'day, guys. Nice to speak to you. Yeah, we made hard work of it in the end, but it felt like one of those contested finals-esque games, so it was good.
Gee, it was all happening, wasn't it? Chris Scott at quarter time and bit going on with Lachie Neale. How did it feel out in the ground?
Yeah, you could feel it. You could feel the tension kind of building from early. I think both teams would have had a pretty strong focus going into the game that they wanted to start, which most teams do. But after the losses last week, both teams would have wanted to start in a kind of ferocious manner, and it just kind of slowly built in that first quarter and bubbled over.
Gee, the Irish boys were good last night yourself, but also I love Mark O'Connor's game.
He's a remarkable player. He's only been here a few years. He's been in the leadership group for a couple of years. He's one of those guys that won't always get the plaudits outside the club, but we love him inside. He never puts a foot wrong, and he'd be first pick most weeks.
Hey, Zach, the Brisbane COVID news, that was mentioned before the game. Were you first of all aware of it? And secondly, did it affect anyone?
Mate, to be honest, none of us heard about it until post-game, and still not entirely across exactly what happened. But no, so, I mean, it certainly didn't affect us because we weren't aware, but I'm not sure what the implications will be of it going forward. But, yeah, mate, no, we didn't know.
How good was it back in front of a home crowd, mate? It's been a while, hasn't it?
Mate, it was nice, yeah. I said post-game last night that, the footy fans have kind of given up a lot as well over the last year and missed a lot of footy, and it's nice to get back in front of a big crowd and put on the game we did. In some ways it was suboptimal, but retrospectively, I'm sure they enjoyed it.
Zach, you touched on it a few moments ago when Bill was asking you questions about the quarter time situation. How close were you to it? Did you manage to get your ears on any of the repartee between Lachie Neale and Chris Scott?
No, I didn't. I didn't really know what it was about. I didn't really see anything about it till afterwards. But that was the kind of game it was, very emotional. And, if a player wants to talk to the opposition coach, which I'm not sure either party should, but if he wants to instigate it, I think it's only fair that the coach gets the right of response.
Well
answered. And Cam Guthrie and Joel Selwood felt the need to go in and maybe drag him away from the heated situation?
Yeah, I think a brief exchange is fine, but I'm not sure you want to let it linger. Look, it's like I said, it's emotions, and to be honest, it's you love seeing it. Like, obviously, it's at the point it's got to stop, but that's fire. That's what the game's about. I love it.
Yeah, spicy. We loved it. Where do you actually play, Zach? Because you're down back, you're in the middle, and then you pop up and kick a couple of goals.
Bill, I don't know.
You don't know?
Does his own thing.
There's always the worry as an older player when they start flinging your magnet around that you're on the way out. But the opposite seems to be true. Look, I love it, to be honest. I've been a career backman up till last year. Got moved up onto the wing last year, and I'm doing a little bit of forward stuff now as well. So it's actually been incredibly refreshing for me. Having done the same job for so long, so I'm not complaining.
Just unbelievable how good a kick Zach is, but even Mark O'Connor, the Irish boys. What about today? Is Danger playing in the VFL side today, and also Mitch Duncan?
Yeah. My understanding was that he was. And can you imagine that peacock getting around Port Melbourne? Oh, jeez. If I didn't have plans today. So I think Mitch is getting a run today as well. So there's a couple of handy players hopefully coming back in a few weeks. And, you know, you put Sam Menegola and Jez into the mix, all of a sudden it's looking good.
Zach, Brisbane on fire late. We're coming hard at you. The last 30 seconds, the holding the ball decision. Now, don't tell me you haven't seen the replay like all other players do, because I'll launch on you. But no, do you think it was holding the ball, or what would you call?
Yeah, I have seen it. And I do, that decision probably gets paid at least half the time.
Yep.
But I'm not sure it's quite as blatant as people think. Now, look, you ride your luck, but on balance, no one's going to convince me that they didn't get the rub of the green more than we did last night. When these instances are in the last minute, they tend to get scrutinised more.
Spot on.
But this is the game. Yeah. This is how it works. You need a bit of luck, so that gets paid quite often, but it also doesn't get paid quite often.
Zachary, when you wandered into the rooms afterwards and there were no cameras and no audio, surely all of you turned to Blitz and said, "By Christ, we got away with that."
we say that to Blitz quite a lot.
Well said. You going to his birthday tonight?
Yeah, I am. Yeah. And I'm sure that sentiment will come up again. Yeah, I am.
Hey, mate, we loved watching, as Bill said, the Irish influence in our game across all the clubs has been quite extraordinary. And you had a great game last night. Great to have you back playing footy. Well done.
Thanks, guys. Nice to talk to you. Take care.
Well done, Zach.
Star of the game. We love him. Love the way he goes about it. Good boy.
Off one step, he's kicking 40 or 50 metres, deep penetration. Go, Hush.
Now, Bill, at 1:40 Melbourne time, umpires boss Dan Richardson will be addressing matters pertaining to, I'm assuming, that last 30 seconds. We'll be off air by then, as in this particular group, but you might want to still come clean before 1:40 when Dan Richardson addresses media.
Go, Bill. Apologise now.
We'll just see what... So you're going to say the umpires are coming out to apologise for that?
Acknowledge they got it
wrong. No, I will wait to see what he says, but he's going to go up at 1:40.
What about because they got it wrong, they'll acknowledge they got it wrong.
What about the other decisions?
None. That one they'll acknowledge.
Eka? Eka getting 3 in the back in the first quarter?
No one cares about that, Bill.
Eric
Hipwood. Potaining. All right.
He's good, Zach Tuohy. He doesn't know where he plays. And I was trying to work out where he was playing last night. He just pops up, kicks goals.
Hey, we're going to a break. On the other side of it, Damo, you spoke to the beautiful Anita Frawley during the week.
I did during the week about the Spuds game, Time to Talk tonight at Marble Stadium. Very emotional, and we'll hear that.
We'll hear that, and we'll also hear an exchange between Spud and the great Sam Newman. This happened many years ago, and, very humorous. So that's coming up next as well. For Hard Yakka, this is the Triple M Saturday rub-in for McDonald's and Ream Hot Water. Triple M rocks footy. Thoughts with the Frawley girls, of course. They'll all be there tonight. Damo, it's a great thing that the St Kilda Footy Club are doing with Melbourne to not only honour the great man, but also to keep pushing this message that it's okay to not feel great and you got to talk to people about it.
That's precisely the reason for it, Jim. And Anita Frawley, as part of that interview, also said that she doesn't want this game, this Danny Frawley Spuds game, Time to Talk game, to be just one game per season. She wants it to be an entire round next year. And I think we all know Anita enough to know that when she puts her mind to something, I'm going to lock that in from next year. It'll be a full round of Spuds game, Time to Talk.
You ring your mate, right? And you go, "How are you, mate?" And he goes, "I'm fine, no worries." But I remember Spud saying this. You got to ask another question because they mightn't be, you know. No, how are you really? You want to have a coffee or you want to have a beer or something? Because blokes being blokes, they just go, "Yeah, mate, I'm okay," when they're really not. So it's that next question or the question, the next two questions.
And it's the old Australian thing. My grandfather used to say it, Fat. You go, "How you going?" And you go, "Oh, yeah, I'm good." But he said, why would it matter if I wasn't? No one gives us stuff anyway. Right, That's how Australian men have always been. Exactly. You just box on. So, why this message is so important is, we can't continue to be like that. If something's wrong, you got to put your hand up. So I love the whole messaging behind tonight. But Spud, of course, Chief, you played a lot against him. You got, fair to say, got the better of him a lot. How did he cope with that, Spud?
No, I had the pleasure of working with him for so many years too. I mean, look, he was a great mate to all of us, and we all miss him like to buggery. But I'm so thrilled with what they're doing, the whole family, because the whole mental health realm at the moment, I think, has been vastly underrated. I was ignorant to most of the issues that were going on, Jim. It's just so hard to learn about it, and the more we learn, the more we realise, gee, it's a pretty massive issue. So I think anything that's going to raise awareness and not just awareness, but to raise funds and to have the Danny Frawley Mental Health and Wellbeing Centre down at Moorabbin, I think is just a fantastic concept.
Well, especially given the issues of the last year, Purple, it's even heightened the mental health space. So, no, I love what they're doing. And, of course, we love Spud for 1,000 reasons. You blokes played against him. He then went and coached, did a great job of coaching, by the way. The Richmond Footy Club took them to a prelim.
Till he got the boot.
And then he got the boot.
As they did for a long time at Richmond.
Yes.
Just kept sacking coaches.
They did. Yeah. And so he left coaching. And I'll never forget it. I think it was 2002 or 3 or somewhere around there. He left coaching, 4 might have even been. And the day he left the coach's box, Chief, he was in our box the next week commentating. And he had no idea what he walked into. No clue. He had the old fossil who used to pull him up on saying things wrong. Yep. Like he said at one stage a player got caught down in the pocket and was stymied. And Force said, no, Dan, that's stymied is the proper word. This is during commentary. And Spud, his head used to just get all confused because the Force would keep pulling him up.
It's like his message bank. You've rang Danny Frawley.
Yeah, that's it. No, legend. But we did have a lot of fun with him, including when he got up on stage and he had one job, Bill.
Yes.
And that was to introduce the great Tony Lockett. He had one job.
Not going there,
and this is what happened.
He's humble. He doesn't like talking about himself. He is the Don Bradman of our game. I'm sorry to get emotional, but I've lost it. Thank you.
Chief!
But he loved Plugger.
Finish the first sentence.
He loved Plugger, didn't he?
Do you know what? That's when he got his most emotional, though, when he was talking about his mates.
Yeah.
The blokes that he'd spent so many years with. He would go into battle for you. If you ever need anything, he was the man.
And Plugger's coming down tonight,
He is
which is great.
there tonight, which is brilliant. So,
and Jim, you're emceeing the official function as well.
Yes. So we get to the footy show. That happened during the week.
Oh, yes.
We get to the footy. This is 15 years ago. Whenever we get to the footy show, that and Gary and I are going, right, well, what are we going to do with this? Spud had obviously been on the footy show and a great mate of ours. And I said we shouldn't play it. Gary said we have to play it. So, but neither of us wanted anything to do with it. Yeah. So we then wandered into the old enforcer's office and we said, Force, we've got to play this tonight and you've got to own it.
Oh, no.
So we're going to play, and he just used to do as he's told, Bill, didn't he?
He did.
So he'd just go, yeah, well, that's fine.
Yeah,
that's
is
fine.
it good for the show?
Is it good?
And we'd say yes. He'd go, I'll do it.
And we said to him, do you want to see the grab so you know what? Yeah. No, it'll be fine. So he hadn't seen it. So we're out there, and you're sitting down the end, and Gary and I, and there's the Force. And anyway, we go, all right, blah, blah, blah. And we go, oh, well, during the week, big event. And killed her and said, Danny Frawley only had one job, and that was to introduce Plugger, and it sort of didn't go too well, and we played it. You've just heard it. And Force saw it for the first time live on television, and he said, well, that's a character flaw.
He did.
That's just like that.
Exactly what he said.
Gary and I and you are down the end, Bill, have gone, oh, no, we're in all sorts now. Spud will not take well to this. So we got through the rest of the show.
Yep.
Friday night, we turn up to do the footy with Spud.
And you didn't get any calls or messages from
nothing.
Spud, which is
normally rang you
unusual.
15 times a day. Didn't heard from it, so I thought he's cut up rough. Yeah. Anyway, so I thought, well, I need to get there first on the Friday night. So I walk in. I said, Spud, that thing last night had nothing to do with it. I tried, Spud, not to have it played. I said Gary wanted it played. Anyway, so Gary comes in 2 minutes later and goes, Spud, I had nothing to do with it last night. Jim wanted it played. Anyway, so we then convinced him it was Sam's fault.
Yeah.
So then we got Sam to ring in, Chief, live on the Friday night to explain to Spud why it was played. Have a listen.
Hello.
No. Hello.
How's that? I have become ill in the last 3 days. You can tell by my voice. I've become ill from worry about that fiasco that was organised on Thursday night. I want to, Spud, listen to me, Spud.
Fossil.
I want to disassociate myself. I have 3 children. I have 3 ex-wives and 3 mother-in-laws, and I'll throw them all under the bus if I had anything. I'm sorry. sorry, I'm getting emotional myself. If I had anything to do with that, I understand it is quite manly to break down in front of friends and ex-teammates, and I said, Gary and Jim Bob, don't do it to the man. He has been an ornament. Spud, if ever this blood has been thicker than water, buses, children, family, they can all go under. I'm with you.
Sam, these guys for an hour before we're on air said don't talk about it. It was Sam Newman's doing. Gary's actually
absolute fabrication.
You are a lying. Gary has eyeballed me and actually put his right hand out and said and JB said I had nothing to do with it.
Nothing.
Now listen,
I love you and I love Tony Lockett and I wish I could have been there to weep with you all.
Get rid of him, will you, for God. I'm not having any of it, Sam. Or JB or Gary. I don't know how many friends are, mate. I'm confused.
I love you.
He was brilliant, Spud. And I tell you what I most loved about him working in this caper, Chief, is he was as happy laughing at himself as he was at anyone else. And that's rare.
Yeah, and if you're going to throw people under the bus, you've got to be prepared to lie under yourself at times.
That's it.
And I think that's what endears you to people. When you can make fun of yourself before you make fun of other people, I think we all laugh along there.
Well, so the Chief and...
Learn that, Bill.
Exactly, Bill. You could well learn that. The Chief and Spud had an amazing on-air relationship, not only with us here at Triple M, but also the great bounce for many, many years. And as I say, Chief, I hate saying it, Bernard. I hate saying anything positive about the Chief. In fact, I've avoided it ferociously for 20 years. But he was a 1,200 goal full forward.
Got to acknowledge that.
And he did have his way with Spud. He did. As a fullback on a number of occasions. And we did go back in and just dig out some of the Chief and Spud at their finest.
Yes.
The only concern now is we want to see him get back to his best and get some continuity in his footy, and let's hope that he comes back bigger and better next year because he's exciting to watch.
Well, you came back well, Chief, after you had that diving bell on your head, half your forehead caved in. You came back straight away.
It was tough to come back, but I got my confidence up playing on bunnies like you.
We had to get to our great friend. Spud, every now and then, I say this often, but every now and then in a gunfight, you've just got to get the 2 6-shooters out and lay them down. Just go, you know what? I'd rather live.
Look at him. Look at him.
I'd rather live to fight another day than be riddled with bullets. So
you didn't say anything. You didn't respond to that.
I did lead with me chin, I must admit. I led with me chin.
You just went silent after that.
Well, I led with me chin. I thought I could see his brain computing. I thought, I'm in trouble here. Because he had that smug look about. You know, he gets that smug look before he says something. I thought, okay, I think I'm in trouble because I had no comeback whatsoever after it.
No, we noticed that.
Mind you, I did keep you goalless twice, but anyway, we'll leave that to another day.
People remember those.
Spud!
All right.
Put them down.
Put them down. They're down. They're down. They're down now.
The competitor in Spud just won't let it happen. He just keeps reaching down and grabbing it.
Yeah, I'll bite his kneecaps off like that Monty Python film. No arms, no legs.
Wow. He's good, isn't he?
Yeah, good.
How much fun was he to work with?
Oh, my God.
Hey.
Extraordinary. So we will love doing that tonight. That'll be brilliant for hopefully everyone concerned because we celebrate what a magnificent man he was, Spud. Hey, enjoyed this. You weren't great, Bill.
Thank you.
He's drifted a bit, Bill.
Yes.
He's sort of gone to sleep over there.
Yes. What have you done?
What are you doing?
No, I've just been listening. I've enjoyed the banter.
Right.
He's alive in both early quarters, I think.
Early quarters.
Yeah. It's not often you bring people onto a panel to listen, Bill.
Well, and when there's 5, Chief, sometimes you've got to put your hand up and just sit outside.
He's just warming up.
No, you asked me before, you don't know what I do.
What do you
You're
do?
employed to actually talk on this panel, not play a mute.
Well, I was very good early. I was a Tex Walker. I'd had 5 to half time today.
Would you have said he was good early?
I was good early. 5 to half time, and then I've just dropped off a little bit. I let Damo get in for one little one. You can get one, Chief. You haven't done a lot. And Bernie, fair dinkum, I'll have a chat to him about that nuff-nuff thing or whatever it is.
Well, Bill, you're 2 from 2. You just start speaking right and you won't be in there.
Anyway, we're still alive in the early quaddy at Bendigo.
Oh, yeah, back to the quaddy, Phil.
Thank you, Chief. Done a
pleasure.
great job of.
Pleasure. Good to see you guys.
So every week we'll see
Work-
you
work
now,
course,
Chief,
Chief.
and love it
No,
on a Saturday
I'm a
afternoon.
Friday night operator, Bill.
Damo,
Come back,
great to see you. Burn, enjoy, of course, everything coming up during the week for you. Rush hour, of course, in Adelaide. Kareem Hot Water, by the way, Australia's favourite water heating. 80 years of manufacturing in Australia. Building Aussie tough water heaters for Aussie families and Aussie conditions. Massive range, including 6-star energy efficient models. Ask your plumber always to install a Ream. We are going to the break. On the other side of it, it is Adelaide and Sydney in Sydney. For McDonald's and Ream Hot Water, this has been Triple M rocking Saturday afternoon footy.